Happy Friday, folks. In today's video, we're talking about the latest Detroit Lions news and rumors. We're talking about Dan Skipper's retirement. Hey, we'll get into there. We love Dan Skipper here. Mock draft roundup. What does the big-time media have the Lions having so far in the draft? Hank Fraley making some noise for the OC. We're going to talk about that. David Montgomery trade. Should we do it now? And Alim McNeill trade. But before we get into today's video, if you think it's a sound and smart idea to jump on a nuclear bomb while it's being deployed, go ahead and subscribe to my channel because we talk all things Detroit Lions news and rumors. Sometimes being a Lions fan, you could blow up. Also, take that like button with you and let that bad boy get nuked. Let's get into today's Lions news and rumors. Congratulations to Dan Skipper. He's one of the favorites here in Detroit, and one of our favorites is retiring. 24 years of putting on pads and a helmet every fall, Skipper wrote on Instagram. This year, I'll trade that out to pursue a career on the other side of coaching. The memories and experiences that the NFL has brought me and my family are hard to put into words. Thankful for every person that has been part of my journey. We love Dan Skipper here on this channel. We love Dan Skipper here in Detroit. And guess what, folks? This is not the last time you see of Dan Skipper. He is going to be taking the Don Muleback route. What does that mean? He is going to be returning to Detroit as a coach. And that is so awesome. And I think we all seen coaching abilities for Dan Skipper. The guy is passionate, hardcore. He puts everything on the line. He is literally the offensive lineman, Dan Campbell, right? That's what he is. I mean, dude pukes. Puke it out, Dan. So we love Dan Skipper here. Congratulations on a pretty good NFL career. You know, he wasn't like a mainstream name or anything like that, but he was a valuable asset. So in the comments, show some love to Dan Skipper. We love it. Number 70 is reporting. Let's get into mock draft roundup. What does the big media have the Detroit Lions selecting? And it's a lot of offensive linemen, and that's how this one really is starting out here. You have from the draft wire going Francis Mauigoa, right tackle from Miami. There's only one person going here, and that's Curt Popejoy, and that's for the fact that you need to understand he is a top tackle in the draft, and folks are saying he won't be there at that selection. A lot of people are projecting Kadyn Proctor to the Detroit Lions, and we're talking about multiple outlets here. SB Nation, PFF, Pro Football Network, FanSided, NFL Mock, Saturday Blitz, Cleveland.com, Cardinals, SI, Tankathon. They're showing a lot of Kadyn to the Lions here. It says, although Penei Sewell is a proven star, Taylor Decker is in his 30s and coming off his lowest graded season since 2017. It's time for the Lions to think about a long-term replacement at left tackle. The best options on the left side are Proctor and Utah's Caleb Lomu. While both are strong prospects, Detroit opts for the 20-year-old Proctor here. He earned an 80-plus PFF grade as a run blocker and pass protection in 2025. You've seen in my mock draft. I really like Kadyn Proctor. I do believe he'll be there at the 17th selection. He's not my top lineman in the draft, but he is a good one. And that's just not it. A lot of other individuals here going with Loen Vega, Mel Kiper, Charles McDonald, Jacob, Caleb Lomu. You have a lot to the Draft Network, Sun Sentinel, Draft Countdown. What we're seeing is a lot of linemen to the Detroit Lions. A lot of linemen. You're getting some defensive linemen. You have Christopher Knox from the Bleacher Report giving Peter Woods defensive tackle, Caden McDonald, nose tackle from Ohio State from Sporting News. Edge rushers, you got a little bit more. David Bailey, we like him from Texas A&M, CBS. Keldrick Falk from Clutch Points and Fantasy Pros. TJ Parker, edge, Steve Bradshaw. Some defensive backs as well. But the primary focus has been offensive linemen. And these are the names that we're going to consistently see throughout this draft process. Really look at number 2 here, folks. Look at Proctor. We love Alabama. That is our go-to college for Brad Holmes. Swing tackle. 20 years old. He likes him younger, okay? He's talked about this. This is why I put him in my mock draft. I legit believe this is who the target is going to be. Just don't think that Francis Mauigoa is going to be there at 17. You'd have to trade up. In which, look, if the Lions wanted to trade up, I am cool for that, right? If you're talking about getting a stud, who is going to be there with that selection? That's really it, right? That's what we're asking, finding out. What you can do, folks, here is join the channel and become part of the family. How do you do that? You hit that join button. It's really easy. Helps the channel out. It really, really does. Hit that join button. Let's get into the next Lions rumors / news here out of Albert Breer. People want to know, how did we get this OC? Lions offensive line coach and run game coordinator Hank Fraley gave his recommendation of Petzing to become the offensive play caller. A year after Detroit kept Fraley and added run game coordinator to his title, the longtime coach had some sway in convincing Campbell who to hire to replace John Morton. So everyone wants to know, where did he come from? How did he come out of nowhere? Well, one of our respected coach, Hank Fraley, really recommended him. And we do like the fact that Hank Fraley likes him because Hank Fraley's an awesome coach. And so if they could work well together, we get that run game going. And we're going to be talking about that run game real quick, because the Lions are going to need to have two good backs, because Drew Petzing likes to pound the football. And we're talking 35 plays on offense in a game to run the football. Mike Payton came out with an article. I 1,000% agree. Check it out. It says, Lions film study. Yeah, Drew Petzing might want David Montgomery to stay in Detroit. Why is he saying this? Because we're going to be running the football massively. Massively. You're talking about potentially 35 times a game. That is a lot. And you're going to want to have not just one good back. You're going to want to have two. Doesn't mean that Montgomery can be getting the same amount of touches as Jahmyr Gibbs. No. That doesn't mean that at all. But what it does mean, we need to run the football. And when Gibbs is taking a break, we would like to have somebody that can supplement him. That's what we're saying. And that's why I am against the Lions trading David Montgomery. Now, look, if they trade him, they trade him. Again, he's the 7th highest paid running back in the NFL. But here is my thought process. Okay, so Connor becomes a free agent. The Lions trade David Montgomery, and you give Connor or some other running back a couple $1 million. So you save $5 million for getting rid of David Montgomery, but you're going to pay a couple million to a less back. So you're just saving a couple $1 million, maybe $2-3 million. And that's where you go to the free agent route. So I'm on the side just keeping David Montgomery. That's me. Do I think that's going to happen? No, I think they actually do trade him. That's what I do think. I don't want him to be traded. To me, that's a decision I wouldn't take. But I am not this regime. I like David Montgomery. I want us to run the football. But if they do, I'd look towards the draft. I think that'd be the better route. If the Lions do trade away Montgomery, it's just to draft a young back behind Jahmyr Gibbs. That makes the most sense to me. You can see my mock draft and tell you who I picked. Again, go ahead and join the channel. All I got to do is hit that join button. Real easy to do. Let's get into it. Roy Lopez speaks to the media. Says, for sure, my place has been great for me. My lady loves it, so that's nice. It's been good for me, man. It's been good, and the fact of it is such a great room I've been part of. Being able to see routines on a weekly basis, whether it's Hutch, Aiden, DJ Reader, whether it's Alim McNeill, changed my career. He looked really good this year. We're talking about Roy Lopez coming back to the Lions. We want him to come back to the Lions. He wants to come back to the Lions. Article comes out, though. If he does, should the Lions trade away Alim McNeill? Should they? Man, that's a hard one to talk about here. I don't think they're going to trade away Alim McNeill. Keep him. I do think he had a little bit of rust from the injury. I want to see him try again. I don't want to give up on Alim McNeill. Because if you have Tyleik Williams, Alim McNeill, Roy Lopez coming after it, and Alim McNeill, if he can get back to his form, that's a formidable interior defensive line. And that's what we want. We want formidable. So I don't think they trade Alim McNeill, but I would like for them to keep Roy Lopez, bring him back, and have a great defensive line, right? You got to get after the passer, not just from the edges, but from the interior. He played well. He did. He was getting pressure. Matter of fact, him and Tyleik Williams looking pretty damn good. It was really nice to see. So, yeah, we want Roy Lopez back on this football team. He's a free agent we'd like to have. But I don't think that it gives the idea we should just trade away Alim McNeill. I just don't think that's... Because I can see a situation, you trade him away, and then he performs well, and then we're screwed. But we'll find out, right? What's going to happen? I don't think any of that's... I don't think he gets traded at all. I know that's been speculation. I personally don't believe it. So give me your thoughts. With that said, folks, adios.